Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 19 of the Go-To Podcast with me, your host, Anthony DiDomenico. The podcast is brought to you each week on all podcast platforms. That's right. We are on Spotify, Apple, Amazon. We're on YouTube. You can follow the podcast over at youtube.com/thegotopod. We also have a link in the description. Buy me a coffee. All the proceeds go back into keeping the lights on, so to speak, on the podcast. So definitely go and check that out. A little bit of a programming update here, a little programming news. The podcast will now be out every Tuesday at 5 a.m. I was doing Mondays. Tuesday allows me a little more time to get the show out and do what I got to do and all the mishigas that goes with it. So, Tuesdays, 5 a.m., there'll be a new episode out. And it was kind of going that way anyway, just the way the weekends were going and stuff. So it's just easier for me to do that. So that's why I made that little change. Hopefully it doesn't mess up people's Mondays. I apologize if for waiting the extra day. But it's just another day to get more of this nonsense that comes out of my face. So there we go. A little programming update for everybody. This episode, I didn't mean it to be like an in memoriam kind of thing, but we just had some things that happened this week and things that I want to talk about, things that are near and dear to me. And so we'll just do that up front and we'll go through that and we'll get into some fun stuff. I mean, what these people have done wasn't fun, but the fact that they're no longer here isn't fun. And we're going to start with Vincent Pastore, who was just best known as Sal, Big Pussy Bompensero on The Sopranos. One of my favorite Sopranos characters of all time. I wish that he would have been around for a few more seasons. You think about it, he was around for 2 seasons, and in those 2 seasons made such an impact on the show that it lasted the whole series. He's there. He's one of the main characters, one of the main guys. And one of my favorite actors. I just liked him because he just seemed like that was him in real life. Every role that he did. And the first time I really saw him, I don't know which one it was first, but it was around the same time, either the Jerky Boys movie or Gotti, the movie Gotti on HBO. He played Angelo Ruggiero in Gotti, and then he played Tony Scarponi in the Jerky Boys movie. And in the Jerky Boys movie, he played a mobster, but it was so fun. He was so funny in that movie. I don't know if anybody's seen the Jerky Boys movie. It is absolutely hilarious. If you haven't seen it yet, go see it. The Jerky Boys, if you grew up in the 90s, definitely one of those fun times where you listen to prank phone calls. And then the movie was just kind of like, introducing you to the guys, and there they are, and, definitely a good time. But yeah, Vincent Pastore, funny guy, good actor, in a lot of movies. One of my favorite scenes, and again, this is just little clips along the way. I'm sure this is not what he was most, wanted to be known for, but he was in a movie called Riding in Cars with Boys, Drew Barrymore, and he plays her uncle, and he's singing Dominic the Donkey, and he's dancing in the living room. And to me, I don't know, it's just he stole the scene. He's a scene stealer. And I see things like that, and I'm like, that's what makes an actor. That's what makes, especially a character actor that can just steal a scene away. And in Sopranos, he stole many scenes away. His character, if you haven't seen The Sopranos, these are spoiler alerts, and you should have seen it by now. It's been out for over 20 years. I apologize, but so he played one of Tony's key guys, and not just Tony's, but in the Sopranos lore, he goes back in the family to Tony's father, Johnny Soprano. He was a part of the family before even, Tony was I think in high school. He was one of Johnny Boy's guys. And then as Tony got older and took over the crew, he stayed loyal to Tony. And then, as we find out in the second season, he turns FBI informant. He was caught peddling H. That's heroin to people who are not up on the street. And he was facing 30 to life. And, he had the dilemma of turning on his friends and everything he knows, or going away and his family not being taken care of. I mean, in the end, Tony finds out they kill him. They dump, they on a boat. They dump him in the water, sleeping with the fishes. And it's one of the most tragic ends of a character on The Sopranos, because you fell in love with Big Pussy along the way, and you kind of, the way they did it, the way David Chase did it, and Gandolfini delivered it as well. You felt that connection, that he was like your brother. And Vinny passed away at age of 80, 2 weeks after his 80th birthday. I don't know what the cause of death is, but they said he died suddenly. He was found in his house in the Bronx. So rest in peace, Vincent Pastore. Thank you so much for all the great entertainment characters, and just hours and hours of content we can watch and remember your excellent work. So thank you. And said there's three of the main guys in The Sopranos are gone: Tony Sirico, James Gandolfini, and then Vinny Pastore. So just shows we're getting older, we're getting up there. And this week was the 14th anniversary of the death of Tony Sly, who was one of my favorite musicians, in my top 5. Tony Sly was the lead singer of No Use for a Name, one of my favorite bands. It's a punk rock band. And he's probably just one of the best lyricists you listen to his songs, they're so heartfelt and raw, full of emotion. And sometimes with punk rock, we don't get that. You have to really listen and pay attention. How I really discovered his lyric, first you listen to the album, you're like, oh, wow, it's really good. Then the second time around, you take out the lyric book and you start reading the lyrics and getting an understanding and seeing that he's singing about something really deep and emotional. And he came out with an album with Joey Cape from Lagwagon. It was half Lagwagon songs, half No Use for a Name songs, and they were acoustic versions. And Tony put out a couple of acoustic albums of his own. And I think I like his acoustic stuff better than the punk rock stuff, because you get more of a feeling with it. And, Tony Sly's music means a lot to me. I listen to it almost daily, whether it be No Use for a Name or his acoustic stuff. His songs are just timeless. Just phenomenal lyrics. The songs are catchy. The music's catchy. If you haven't checked out No Use for a Name, go check him out now. Go check out Tony Sly. Gone way too soon. He passed away at the age of 41, which is way too soon for anybody to be out of here. But he left behind a catalog of amazing music. So in that way, he's going to live on forever. These actors and musicians, when they go, they leave behind this catalog of work that we can remember and celebrate. I used to talk about No Use for a Name. This is probably it's probably right at the high school. I don't know where my brother had gotten the hat from. I don't know if he got it at the local like store we used to go to buy our punk rock CDs, or he actually got it at a No Use for a Name show. But he had a black No Use for a Name hat with No Use for a Name written in blue lettering. I wanted this hat so bad. And I remember I made some kind of deal with my brother. I forget what the deal was. I don't know if I had to like, give it. I don't think I gave him money, but I had to do something around the house. I forget what the deal was. And I got the hat. I love this hat. It was not only that I like No Use for a Name, but the hat was just comfortable. It's one of those hats you put it on. It's like you don't even know you have it on your head. I love this hat. It was my favorite hat. One of our block parties, my best friend Nick went into the pool with his clothes on. He comes out. And my mother's like, go into Anthony's room, just get some clothes. Being wet clothes all day. And he comes out with my No Use for a Name hat on, and I lose it in the middle of the street. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I go, get that fucking hat off. That's my hat. And my mother was like, just let him wear the hat for the day. What do you care? You'll get it back. I never got the hat. I never got this hat back. And still to this day, I'm angry about it. I talk about it enough. I get angry about it still. The last time I saw the hat, it was I was down in Nick's basement. It was on the floor, trampled, stomped, unrecognizable almost, not wearable. So yeah, every time I think of Tony Sly and listen to No Use for a Name, I think about that hat too, and I can still get angry about it. 25 years later, maybe more, 25, but at least 25 years, thinking about that hat and still wanting it back. I keep looking, we can't find it. It's gone, gone. The hat is gone forever. The last remembrance we're going to do today is for Thurman Munson, New York Yankees catcher, captain of the Yankees. Thurman Munson died tragically on August 2nd, 1979, in a plane crash. Thurman had taught himself how to fly. Well, not taught himself, but he learned how to fly a plane because he wanted to go back and forth and see his kids and his family. And, it's crazy. We think about it nowadays, you know, either these players have private jets or they'll build like, a mansion outside the city and the family will live there. But no, this is where like, players still weren't making, they were making good living, but they weren't making the kind of living where they can have multiple homes. And Thurman Munson was such a family man that he took every second he could to be with his family. And tragically, going to see his family, his plane crashed on August 2nd, 1979. And not only the Yankee universe, but the baseball universe lost one of their best players. I never got to see Thurman play because I was born 5 days later. But his legacy will live on forever. I watch clips of Thurman. I watch old games, and this guy was an absolute beast behind the plate, and the kind of guy you'd want on your team. He was a tough guy. Played hurt, played injured, clutch. He was just everything that a Yankee captain should be. He was the leader of that team. And, the story that I was told from my parents was that my dad was driving when he heard the news on the radio. My mother was in the hospital at the time. I was about to be born. I was actually 2 weeks. I was born 2.5 weeks late. My mother had toxemia. She was in the hospital. She told me this. This is how my mother told me the story. And she said to me, your father came in crying. And she got nervous right away. She thought that there was something wrong with her or me. And she was pregnant. And she's going, what's the matter? What's the matter? Just talk to the doctor. And my father's crying. He goes, Thurman Munson died. We got to name him Thurman. Captain died, Captain born. And she was like, get the fuck out of here, Thurman. What are you, Thurman? My name could have been Thurman if it was up to my father. Thurman DiDomenico. the go-to Thurman. It's a whole new show. um, but growing up, my dad told me these stories about Thurman Munson and how he played the game and what he meant to the Yankees and the fans. And that's one of the reasons why I became a catcher was, because of Thurman Munson. I mean, listen, I was the fat kid on the team, so usually they just put the pads on you and they stuck behind, usually as a backstop. But I actually enjoyed playing catcher, and I wanted to be like Thurman in a way, but even though a player I never saw play because my dad loved him so much. He was my dad's favorite player on those Yankee teams. And you think about it, 47 years he's gone, and at the old stadium, his locker stayed empty that whole time. And it's a shame he's not in Cooperstown because he definitely put the numbers up for it. He was MVP. He was a two-time World Series champion. One of the best catchers of his era. He should be enshrined in Cooperstown, 100%. And I hope maybe one day that happens for him because, he was that good of a ball player, that kind of a ball player. Look at his stats. Put him up against the catchers in that era. He's top, he's behind Johnny Bench stat-wise. And all that just goes into what, the Yankees really are. I mean, the Yankees to me is not just a baseball team. And it's a bonding moment in my family. We talk about the Yankees, we watch the games together, and baseball just means something more than just a sport. It's Americana. It's a national pastime. And to me, growing up, baseball was it. I wanted to be a baseball player when I grew up. I wanted to, I love watching baseball. I remember begging my father to stay up another inning, on school nights to because I wanted to watch the Yankees hit again. So the Yankees to me are more than just a baseball team. It's, it's something that's like ingrained in my family as well. So, these stories I heard from my father about the 1970s Yankees and, him growing up as a kid watching Mickey Mantle, then in the 70s with those teams, these guys become like, folklore. And they're bigger than life. And, to think about like how tragic, imagine like the team you root for, the captain of that team, the heart and soul of that team, dies in a plane crash, how devastating that is. And the other night, I was at the cigar lounge and they actually had on Yankee Classics. They called it the Thurman Munson game. It was the first game back after Thurman's funeral. And the Yankees won in the ninth inning. Bobby Mercer hits a game-winning double. And it was on August 6th, 1979, the day before I was born. So that game happened that night. I was born the next day. It's just crazy. It's just weird to think about. And it's kind of how Thurman Munson's kind of like entwined in my life and my birthday and everything like that. And, my dad wanted to name me Thurman. Whole different world, being named Thurman. All right, so let's get into stuff that's not so mushad and downer of people who have passed away. Let's talk about some tasty things, I guess. As what a segue. I haven't been doing radio for 20 something years. Oh, what a horrible segue that was. Oh, that was the pets. I apologize. But anyway, Buzz Coffee in Belmore, located in the old dairy barn that cousin Joe used to work at. They came out with their August flavor of the month. It is Boston cream. This is pure dessert. It's delicious. But it tastes like a Boston cream donut. It's espresso, Bavarian cream, cold foam, and I got mine with almond milk. And it is a treat, man. I'm telling you. And you can actually get it with the Boston cream donut on top. Yeah, this thing, I couldn't finish the 24 ounce. It was too sweet for me. That it was just too much of the, I'm not a big sweet coffee guy. So this was too much. I should have got the smaller one. I should have gotten the 16 ounce. But yeah, no, it's delicious though. Absolutely delicious. Get it. Go to Buzz in Belmore if you're on Long Island. Try this coffee. It is absolutely delicious. It is like drinking a Boston cream donut. It really is that good. I don't know how they do it with these flavors. Like mad scientists in the lab or something like that, but it was absolutely delicious. So go check that out. That's my go-to coffee of the week. I don't know if anybody else out there is a wrestling fan like I am, but I am a professional wrestling fan. And this past weekend was SummerSlam, which is my favorite event outside of WrestleMania. I don't know because it's always close to my birthday, but I love SummerSlam. I really do. It's become like the WrestleMania of the summer, like, the second WrestleMania almost. It's a 2-night event, and I enjoyed every second of it. I don't go on with the experts say, they always find something wrong with this and that. But, again, it's professional wrestling, it's theater, it's entertainment. Take it as that. And I was entertained. CM Punk and Cody Rhodes put on a fantastic match night one. Kevin Owens returned. Night two, Chad Gable finally got his first singles title in WWE. And Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins put on an absolute barn burner of a match in the main event of night two. Just overall, the whole up and down the card, it was a good time. And I like to take my iPad down to the cigar lounge, have a couple of great cigars, watch the wrestling event. You can't call it a pay-per-view anymore. It's not a pay-per-view. It's a PLE, premium live event. But I'm old school. I call them pay-per-views because that's what it used to be back in the day. So I watched both nights. I like that they separated. A lot of the fans like, they could have put everything on one show. Yeah, but the shows should be like 6-7 hours long, 8 hours long. I like it both nights. That it was from 6 to 10 the first night and 6 to 9 the second night. I like that. You break it up. I'm sorry. I like it. They should do that. Keep doing that with SummerSlam. 2-night event. WrestleMania 2-night event. I like that. But I enjoyed it. I really did. I enjoy pro wrestling. People, it's fake. Yeah, I know it's fake. It's predetermined. It's like any other TV show. And it's funny just watching people's predictions about wrestling because they get so passionate about it and so into it. But if you use just common sense and maybe because you know how like things work, like on television wise, you can kind of who's gonna win and kind of know what's gonna happen. It's just funny how crazy people get with this. The predictions, the spoilers, all that stuff. I was actually watching Monday Night Raw. I fell asleep. I had to get up early this morning. I had to get my car fixed. I was off today from work, but I had to get up early and get my car fixed. So everything's good. Just needed a spark plug and a coil. Shout out to my boy Mike for helping me out with that. So I was tired. I went down to the lounge afterwards, did some podcast prep, and had a couple of cigars. And then I came home, I ate dinner, and I fell asleep, and then I put on Raw, and I fell asleep again. I'm like, you know what? I got to get this podcast in. Otherwise, it's going to be Wednesdays at 5 a.m. So I'll go back and it's on Netflix. I can go back and watch where I left off. And yeah, so I was off today from work. I'm off Friday from work and next Monday as well. It's my birthday. My birthday is this weekend. My birthday's Friday. I'll be 47 years old. So I do take off for my birthday. Not that I do anything crazy. I was actually thinking about going away, kind of maybe do like a cabin camping trip kind of thing. But, it's supposed to rain this weekend and it's supposed to be really hot as well. So that also deters me. Plus, I had to shell out a couple of ducats for my car today that I was going to put that towards the trip. So, you know what? I'll lay low. I'm okay with that. I'm very easy. I don't need, I'm 47 years old. I'm only 47. Just give me a good cup of coffee, a couple of good cigars, little Yankees on the television. Happy birthday. I'm happy. My family will be away. They'll be at my nephew Rocco's tournament. So I guess we'll celebrate when they get back. And we'll celebrate anyway. And if we don't celebrate, I'm fine with that too. But 47. I don't need a birthday party. I'm creeping up to 50 though. It's my cousin Joe's gonna be 50. We're born on the same day, actually, August 7th. It's crazy to think about, 50's creeping up. I'm getting old. It's going by fast. I don't feel like 47. I still feel like mentally, I still feel like I'm a teenager. The only time I feel my age is when I got to bed in the morning. I really, I don't feel like, it's gonna kind of weird. I don't feel like an adult. Yeah, I do adult things. I go to work. I take care of my business, but like I'm just saying, like I don't feel like I'm like a 47-year-old adult. You watch TV shows like The Sopranos. Tony Soprano was in the show like 38, 39 when it started. In the last season, he's my age. And he seems like so much more of an adult. I know he's running a multi-million dollar mafia corporation, mafia family, but yeah, but still, like, I don't feel like that kind of an adult. And maybe it's because I never got married and never had kids, but I enjoy being the way I am. I enjoy being immature. I enjoy still laughing at the same stupid things I laughed at 30 years ago. Yeah, and just because you're growing up, just because you're growing older doesn't mean you have to be an old man. You can still like the things you like. You can still be who you are. And to me, that's more important than anything else. So here's to never growing up, like Avril Lavigne said. Here's to never. All right, everybody. I want to thank you for joining me this week on this week's episode 19 of the Go To podcast. I was actually gonna say, I was actually gonna say the Comic Anthony D podcast because I changed the name of my Instagram handle last week. Oh, I'm losing my mind. See, maybe I am getting older. Episode 19 of the Go To podcast, available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. Subscribe over at the Go To Pod. Please, on any 5-star like, review, comment, all the good Michigas. Buy me a coffee. I got a link there. All the money goes back into the podcast, keeping the lights on, so to speak. Definitely, please. Whatever you can. Thank you. Appreciate everybody who's donated so far. So yeah. Once again, we're heading into episode 20, which is a nice milestone. We'll talk about more of that the next week. Have a great week, everybody. I will talk to you later. Have a good one.